Hey guys, well we're back after the last video. Remember the one? Corner weights. Yeah, it's a mechanic. Trace Johnson Racing. Right, so we've done corner weights last time, so hopefully we all know what we're doing there. Now we've hopefully got a nice balanced car. Now we've got to make sure this car's pointing in the right direction. There's a few ways of doing this, depends what you've got. You can use your Dunlop trapping gauges, pace camber gauges, long acre, there's all sorts of great gear. We picked this wheel force stuff up a few years ago now, and we've been using that since. It's a bit fiddly to get used to, you know, but it's just bubbles and string really, you know, so nothing much can go wrong, just got to watch how we fit it. Let's have a quick look at it. So this head here is our Camber caster gauge, and get my words out. So at the minute we've got 3 degrees of negative camber showing on here. I've had a quick run round the others. The back we're on 0, which is perfect, both sides. The front, both sides, we're on 3 degrees negative, so we don't want 3 degrees negative camber. I've also done a quick caster check, and the caster's a bit low for where I want it. We're only 6.5 on caster, we want to be up near 8. So we've got a few adjustments to do, and then once we've done them adjustments we'll set the tracking. Hopefully the tracking will be close and won't throw our camber and caster numbers out again, so we don't have to go through the cycle again. Then once we've done them, we'll have a look at the back of the car and just make sure that our back wheels are torn out, so we like it torn out a little bit at the back of the car just to help the turning. So we'll grab some spanners, get underneath the car and get some adjusting done. We've got the mini spares type adjustable bottom arms on the rose joint, so I think one's a 17mm and one's a 19mm. We release a 19mm that sits on the rose joint, and that lets us adjust the 17mm, and we'll reduce some of our camber that way. I know, about 1/4 degree, something like that on both sides, and then we'll adjust the caster. When we adjust the caster, we'll actually be reducing the amount of negative camber we have as well, so we won't be adjusting all the negative camber we have off. When I adjust the camber, just a little bit, I don't want too much caster either. I don't know if we've been through the caster story. We'll quickly run you through the caster story. Caster is very important for these front wheel drive cars, especially on the minis. We tend to run 6 degrees and above. The road cars were running at about 3 degrees supposedly from the factory, give or take a couple of degrees either there, but we run 6 degrees and above. The reason for this is obviously it gives you the firmer feel of steering wheel, but when we turn in, instead of our wheels then going into positive camber and just riding on the outside of our wheels, they don't stay in negative camber, so it's just body roll that we need to reduce so we don't roll onto the outer walls. So that's why we have so much caster, so we stay basically when we're turning a corner in negative camber, so we're riding at the optimum place on our tyre. Anyway, we'll stop rattling about it and get on with it. So we've got the spanner on to free it off, so we'll free that off, and then just round the back here got to get the 17mm on, and then we can make the adjustment. So I'll try freeing that off first. Quite difficult one-handed this. I'm going to put the camera down before I end up breaking something. Then need a camera. Right, so that's that bolt on the rose joint cracked off. So I'm going to come in from behind it now with a 17mm and just wind a little bit of that negative camber off we've got. come on. There we go, finally. I want to be winding this in to reduce the length of this rose joint. Well, reduce the length for a thread sticking out for a rose joint. And ideally do a better span than this. I did pick her up and have a look before I started just to make sure, you know, but let's see if we've got a 19 on this. I'm sure this bit's slack. Oh, here we go. Oh, we'll give this side a couple of turns and we'll go repeat it on the other side. I've actually nipped up to where I moved the locking nut on the rose joint there. So, do the other side. Box out the way, you might be able to see some. Maybe that spanner as well. Oh, you know when you think you've got it and you haven't quite got it. Here we go. Wind that in a bit. And then we'll wind this adjuster, wind the wheel in. It was roughly about as far as went on the other side. And we're up to the adjuster. Okay. You might wonder why you don't jack the car up while we're doing this. Well, if we jack the car up, it'll adjust our ride heights because the rubbers on the minis take a while to settle in. So if you decompress them, then you're going to have to jump about on your car, and obviously you don't want to be jumping about on your car when you've got it on platforms and you're trying to take measurements. Anyway, let's have a look. So on this side, you can see that the bubbles moved. So we'll slide the gauge along, centre the bubble and see what we've got. So we've nearly lost half a degree there. Pull this off and go check on the other side. Again, trying to do anything one-handed, it's tricky. I think we've got it though. Yep, and we're in. So let's have a look what we've got on this side. Okay, let's get it level. So we know we're leveling that plane now, so now we turn it. We get our camber reading, doesn't it see the bubbles way over. We'll slide it, and there we are. Yeah, we've not lost so much on this side, about 1/4 degree. I'm going to pull a little bit more up on this side and then we'll move over to the caster. See, a little bit more off there. Okay, let's have a quick nose at that. So yeah, a little adjustment over, get a bubble back in the centre. And we're about the same as the other side now. So we'll do the caster adjustment. We're on a rose joint on these. And, so we'll crack this nut off here, loosen the front, and then we'll turn this body, which will thread onto this bar. To get more caster, which is what we want to shorten this length. Right, so let's have a look at this caster then. We've cracked this front nut off, we've cracked this rear nut off, so now we're going to turn this body and reduce the length of this rod. So we'll try it there, we'll do the same on the other side, and then we'll take a measure of the caster. I won't over nip it up just yet, so we'll probably have more adjustments to make. Quick note, when you are done, this bolt that goes through here, make sure it's not going to get fouled by the movement of your arm, so don't be fitting it that way, make sure it always goes across and that this arm can move freely. Right, nip onto the other side, got these ones to crack off, so let's bear with me. Right, so that's that one cracked off there. Crack this front off now. And that's the front one cracked off. Now we turn this section here. Same as we did the other side basically. Some right size span it. We can crack that up. Yes. Hello.
You alright?
That's cool.
Cuppa?
How are you?
Hi.
I love a cuppa.
Nice fun at the park we've had.
Hey, nice bit of fun at the park.
Yes. Having fun with the car? Hey. I shall
Hi.
go put the cuppa on by space.
Good idea. Looks like we're going to be having a cuppa break. Which is a good thing in there. Right, get back to you after this cuppa break. So I've had our quick cuppa. Come back in, crack the bolts. Right, quick little adjustment. And let's have a look what we've got now. We're on the near side. So oh well, you guys can see that. But we've got 2.5 degrees of negative camber, which is exactly where I want to be. So I'll just run you through how we set the caster. I'll swap sides, it'll make more sense. So we've got another slider here. We've set our camber, we know we're at 0. So we'll line this one up with 0. There we go. So now we'll turn the steering wheel, left hand down, one full turn. You could put the steering wheel off and it's not necessary, not for us anyway. Okay, so we can see that the bubble's moved. So what we'll do, we'll move the slider over. We'll get that bubble sat back in the middle of the lines. Take the caster slider, line that one up. There we go. So now we'll go 2 turns, so we'll go back to straight and then 1 full right hand down. So back to straight and then 1 full right hand down. You can see, obviously the wheels turn. So we'll have a look to see where our bubble is. So our bubble's way over. So we'll move our slider, take the cross, nearly there. And we're just in between the lines. At just over 7.5. Look, hang on. Yeah, more like 7 3/4, I think. 7 3/4 degrees. So I'll repeat that on the other side and find out where we are on the other side. Hopefully we're pretty close. 7.5 degrees caster, that'll do for us, I think. So if we can get that the other side, that'll be that done. We can go on and show you the backs. Right, I'll knock this off while I swap it around. This video will gone for hours. Okay guys, so, and girls of course, we've got the head on the other side. We've took a measure of our camber and we've zeroed our caster gauge out. We're more like 2¼ degrees on this side of camber, but let's have a look, see where we are with caster and see whether we can wipe that out. Right, it's one full turn, so get between the bubbles, bring the slider across, zero, full turn back to straight, and then one full, just enough for that to hit the wheel arch. Let's see what we got. So caster wise we're pretty much the same as the other side. So we've just got to find 1/4 degree of negative camber. So that shouldn't knock the caster too much, so we can say knee side's complete. A slight adjustment on this side and then make sure everything's boxed up and tight, and then we'll move on to the backs. Right, I'll get that adjustment done and then we'll get set up for the backs. Okay, so we've got the caster and we've got the camber, both where I want them. So we've got 8 degrees of caster. Caster, for those who don't know, is, if you know where the top and bottom ball joint is, if you draw an imaginary line and it was straight down between the two ball joints, that would be 0. So we move it so the bottom ball joint is further forward than the top ball joint. That gives us our caster angle. Obviously not the same for all cars and not the same for all setups, but that's a caster angle anyway. And the camber, obviously, negative camber just means that the bottom's sticking out more than the top is. Anyway, we've got them where we want them, they're all tight, so now we move on to the tracking. Let's have a look where we are. We're not a million mile off, we want to be close to parallel, tiny bit of toe out, not a lot, and thankfully they're not very far off, so hopefully they won't knock our camber and caster out when we make these adjustments. Slight toe out on this side. So I've already cracked the nuts off on the steering arm, the track rod end, so I can adjust it nice and easy. As you can see, we're towing out ever so slightly, so, sorry, we're towing in ever so slightly. Quite important, get them to the right way around. So if we're towing in, what I'm going to do is shorten the length of this rod here by winding it into the track rod end, and that'll take us from toe in to toe out. And if I do it evenly on both sides, hopefully we'll keep the steering wheel somewhere in line, we won't have to take it off to line it back up again. Right, let's give it some turns and see where we are. Put the camera down, it's a 200 cable. Okay, so I'll give it 5 turns, just like quarter turns, you know, not full turns, just as far as the span will allow. We'll see we're still a bit off. I'll go to the other side and we'll do the same. I think we'll actually get some of this on steering wheel alignment. But we'll get some of this here first. Make sure that nut's backed off. And we're towing out. So if we're towing out, make that arm a bit longer to bring it in. So 5 again that side. See where we're looking. Now we're looking on this side. Still got a lot of towing. Shows how much we've got to move. Wheels more or less level. Let's shorten this arm some more. We've gone 10 that time. Over to the other side to have a look. So we're torn out by a little. And ideally we want to be towing, be parallel. We're on 10 again. That's got us pretty damn close there. So look where we are the other side. Yeah, we're getting there now. Definitely getting there now. So let's check that steering wheel alignment. Back this side. We'll try another 5 on this side. Seeing that tools are over this side already. We'll do another 5. Back to the other side. Come around. We'll give that 10. Have a look where we are on the other side. Weird alignment, I think. Let's get 5 wound up here. And again, back to the other side. See what we've got. Quite a lot of tour. So again, just some more this side. Alright, so after much toing and froing, we've equalised the threads on the rack and we've got it where we want it. So very tiny amount of taut, and when I say tiny, it is tiny. A lot of people like to run parallel, but you like to run with a little bit of twat. So also do now on the front is just check the camber and caster, and fingers crossed that they're still where we want them, and if they're where we want them, then we'll move on to the back. Right, I'll quickly do these checks, there's no point running over them again. So I've done. Right, back in a minute. So after much tuning and throwing, we're there now. So we've got the tracking bang on where we want it. Yeah, it knocked the caster out, it knocked the camber out again, so we had to go back through the caster, back through the camber, redo the tracking, go back through the camber, back through the caster, redo the tracking, but we're there now. So next we're going to move the wheel heads onto the back wheels, and then we'll just check the back tracking. All we've got to do with these, just release this cord. All that cord does just pulls on there, and that gives us our tracking. You know, science, magic, whatever it is, it works. Right, so under these, it's just this dial here. What I'm going to do, I'm going to knock this off, come back, and I've put them on the back wheels. Be easier. Right, front boxed off. We've got the backs on now. And put the camber head on as well. Yeah, we checked the camber earlier, but you know. So we're at 0 degrees on the camber. So all we're doing here is a tracking. We've got 0 on both sides. So let's have a look at the tracking. And as you can hopefully see by that, it says it's towing in by quite an amount. But the heads are on back to front, so that towing in is actually towing out. So if we have a look on this side, you should see the same. So because our wheels are obviously pointing in a different direction when we've put these heads on, what it does, it reverses your in and your out. So basically when you're on the back, your in becomes your out. So again over here we've got a nice healthy amount of what is toe out. So the back end doesn't need touching. We're towing out good fuel mill both sides, which is how we like it. So that's it. We've set the front up, we've done all the corner weights, we've got the right heights down the touch. That's the suspension reset and ready to go for our next race. So with that, I'll see you guys later. Bye.